Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are giving you our reaction and results to the 2026 Royal Rumble. We just got finished watching it. It was a really good show, and yeah, what are your initial thoughts on the 4 matches we got tonight?
Yeah, definitely some big surprises. The men's Royal Rumble winner, I definitely think is going to have a lot of people talking into Mania season. Obviously, setting up a main event match for one of the World Championship is definitely a big spot to see a man that we've seen there before, especially after comments he's made the past few weeks.
However, we did start the Royal Rumble with some dark matches. The first time we've really gotten these pre-show dark matches on a pay-per-view in quite a long time from the WWE. We've seen the Wyatt Six defeat the MFTs, and the New Day and Grace of Allah defeat Motor City and Shinsuke Nakamura. So pretty cool. We got a pre-show, so I guess it's worth mentioning that. But we're gonna start things off with the Women's Royal Rumble, where we see Liv Morgan be the final woman standing and be the Royal Rumble winner. Now this was probably the better Royal Rumble in my opinion. I really did enjoy this one. We see Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss kind of start this one off. They're like kind of fake fighting each other, fake doing their finisher. Charlotte puts her in the figure 8 and they're like, oh, I'm just joking. And then Alexa Bliss, her sister Abigail, and kind of does the same thing, says I'm just joking. They wait, Kiana James comes out. Big performance from Kiana James tonight too, by the way. Had hit a big Samoan drop on Nia Jax and just had a good performance, lasted a long time, had a lot of good spots in the Royal Rumble, interacted with a lot of big names throughout this. So this is a really good opportunity for her. But yeah, we see Lola Vice being the next kind of big entrant of the Royal Rumble. Big pop from her, first time entrant in the Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. We also see Jordynne Grace come in, where she kind of picks up the first 3 eliminations of the entire Royal Rumble. So big spot for her, kind of lasted quite a while for her. Kind of a boring elimination for her. I don't remember who it was that eliminated her off the top of my head.
I believe it was Lash.
Oh, Lash Legend. Yeah, Lash Legend eliminated her. And it was kind of a little bit underwhelming. I do believe that was the point where the crowd started chanting overrated at Lash Legend, unfortunately. So that's a little bit, to be desired, obviously, but pretty good stuff. But, I think the big point of this, the big kind of talking point of this Women's Royal Rumble is going to be the interactions between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Because we do see Roxanne Perez get eliminated first, so it's just them two. So it's kind of like, okay, you could kind of maybe start to see the writing on the wall of like what's gonna happen between these two. But after an elimination that Raquel gets, I forget who that was, we see her kind of celebrating the elimination right next to the ropes. But we see Liv Morgan go from behind her and throw her over the top and kind of taunt her as she gets eliminated. So definitely not an accident, definitely something that she meant to do. So it'll be interesting to see how she kind of reacts to that come Monday when Raquel Rodriguez has her World Championship match.
Yeah, I definitely think we'll see a lot of that play, or whoever wins that match is going to be the person that Liv Morgan faces at WrestleMania. And I definitely think Raquel has a real fighting shot. Obviously, with this turn happening now, definitely, like you said, has that writing on the wall now. But yeah, Liv Morgan doing the turn here definitely is a bit surprising. I definitely thought we would maybe see Raquel win the championship first, and then Liv Morgan finds her way into the title match. But Liv Morgan snakes her to eventually get the big win. So yeah.
Yeah, so definitely going to be a lot of interesting TV between the Judgment Day members. We also got a message that Dominic Mysterio will be returning on the next AAA show. So that's a good message from Dom, saying that he's healthy and will be returning to in-ring action very soon. But yeah, outside of that, we do see Lash Legend with a really big performance as well. She does pick up the most eliminations out of the entire Royal Rumble. So really good work from her. But another big talking point, probably the biggest pop of the entire Royal Rumble night, is going to go to a returning Brie Bella. As soon as she enters, we get the yes chance. Nikki Bella was already in the ring at the time, so they were able to kind of reunite in the ring, hug each other, and kind of help get a few eliminations with each other. But yeah, biggest pop of the night. Definitely surprised at how big it was and how big they reacted to it with the yes chance. They were doing the thing, and it was crazy. It was a really good interaction for Brie Bella to get that.
Yeah, I really love Brie Bella joining WWE again and entering this those women's tag team division that is kind of thriving right now. There's a lot of big tag teams that are starting to form, and we're getting a lot more women's tag team opportunities now with the belts being on Rhea and Io. It kind of forces you to be, use those belts a little bit more. And now having Brie and Nikki there, I think is going to have some type of WrestleMania match for those women's tag team titles.
And then I guess the last surprising thing you could say is everyone was sort of expecting a Bianca Belair return here. We did not get that, though. At number 30, we actually got the return of Tiffany Stratton. So a very interesting kind of thing here. I kind of expected her to win. It was kind of between her and Liv. That was the two big names floating around on who was going to win. I was leaning more towards Bianca, but she didn't show up. And I guess we could kind of predict that she'll be around come Elimination Chamber time, because that'll be her second time in a row winning. So that'll be a pretty big kind of of feat for her to accomplish. Yeah, no Bianca Belair.
Yeah, definitely a lot, very surprising, and definitely thought this was the night we would see her. Hopefully, she is okay. Obviously, who knows what is like really wrong with her? Hopefully, she is ready to come back whenever she is. But yeah, it definitely feels weird that Tiffany Stratton was the big number 31. I feel like they could have been somebody else. Yeah, it's interesting to see where some of these people go. Where does Tiffany Stratton kind of, now that she is back, where does she fall in the women's SmackDown kind of tier list of where is she in the United States champion? Is she going back after Jade? So yeah, it opens the door for a little bit, but I think Bianca Belair will be back for WrestleMania, and hopefully we see that match between her and Jade at Mania.
Yeah, and we had a big kind of surprise at the end because we did not get a Final Four this year. We actually got a Final Three, and that Final Three ended up being Liv Morgan, Sol Ruca, and Tiffany Stratton. So a very interesting Final Three there. Sol Ruca lasted that long. She came in pretty early on in the Royal Rumble, so her to last to the Final Three to be like, oh, this one, they have a lot of stock into her for sure. She had a lot of good moments throughout the match. She did hit a double soul snatcher at some point during this match. But on the Final Three, we do see all three of them kind of fighting on the apron. And it was kind of badly booked, in my opinion, because we do see Sol Ruca go for a soul snatcher off the turnbuckle onto the apron, where Tiffany Stratton just pushes her, and that's the end of it. She's eliminated. Then Liv Morgan hits an Oblivion, a really cool Oblivion on the apron, and then she picks up the win here. So yeah, really good Royal Rumble win for Liv Morgan. Definitely deserved. Definitely excited to see what she does, especially with the story of Raquel leading into this next Raw. So yeah, a lot of good stuff heading up for the women.
Yeah, Liv Morgan, I think, is set for a big year, and I think it'll start at WrestleMania when she will probably pick up that Women's World Champion.
But up next, we do see the unfortunate retirement of AJ Styles. Gunther does defeat him. He puts him in the sleeper and he doesn't tap out, so that's a good thing. However, he does kind of just black out. He lifts his arm one time, it drops, match is over. But besides that, it was a really, really good match. It was an enjoyable match. The crowd was alive for this one. Probably the most alive for this match more than any of the other ones. Obviously, the Rumbles are going to, they're going to get them to react for the countdowns and all that. But outside of the countdowns, during the match itself, this is where I feel like they really enjoyed this. They had a lot of good moments with the crowd with this. AJ Styles looked amazing doing his 450 springboards. Gunther obviously looking amazing as always. But yeah, definitely a big moment for Gunther to take out someone like AJ Styles and kind of literally force him to retire, just like he did John Cena, just like he did Goldberg. And yeah, very interesting that AJ Styles is gone from WWE. Will he show up in AEW? That's kind of the big rumor that everyone is expecting at the moment. But we did get confirmation from Triple H that he is retired from his in-ring work and we will not be seeing him again. So is that true? We don't know.
Yeah, this match, I do really love it. The last kind of stretch, where it's kind of a switch turn on from Gunther, where he kind of, I think he hits a big power bomb, and he kind of gets back, and we realize he hasn't put him away just yet, and then he kind of switches to a different gear, and he just starts chopping AJ Styles down. He hits some big elbows to the side of the head, and then he obviously puts in the sleeper, which ends up being the ultimate finish to AJ Styles, tapping or making him go to sleep. And yeah, it's definitely a very strong, another statement from Gunther, obviously not having a world championships at SummerSlam now, but having two big feats and retiring AJ Styles, retiring John Cena, retiring Goldberg as well. Yeah, definitely very interested to see where he will fall come Mania time, and yeah, who is next that Gunther will retire.
Yeah, and this match was just, in my opinion, just sort of perfect. It went about 24 minutes, a little over that. So I feel like it was the perfect amount of time. Didn't go too long where I was like, okay, let's start wrapping this one up. Obviously, not really going to feel that in a retirement match anyway, especially when it's AJ Styles and Gunther in ring. But, like I said, just didn't get to that point where you're like ready for the match to end. It was just a perfect amount of time they gave it. Gunther did put him in a sleeper a little bit early in the match, but AJ Styles kind of fought, and then he ended up getting out of it. He hits a big Styles clash onto Gunther, and that was a really big 2.9 for AJ that kind of got the crowd to bite on, like, oh my god, he's gonna win, but he doesn't end up doing it. Gunther does put him to sleep. So yeah, that will be the end of AJ Styles' 10-year career in the WWE.
Yeah, who knows where he will do next. Obviously, if you listen to Triple H, he'll stick around, be in a backstage role for WWE. But what I think he'll be doing, he will be in AEW, or he will be in TNA. He will be wrestling again this time, sometime again this year. And it's just a matter of who and when that will be.
But up next, we do have Drew McIntyre defeating Sami Zayn. Yeah, this match, I mean, it was a really good match, but it was just kind of in a bad spot. Obviously, coming right after the AJ Styles match, right before a big Royal Rumble, so you're kind of anticipating the Rumble. You want the Rumble to come, and I will admit, like, once it got to maybe around the 12-minute mark of this match, I was kind of like, I just want the Rumble to come. I was very excited to see it. I really wanted to watch the Rumble, and I think that was kind of in the way of this match, as well as obviously the previous match being a retirement match of AJ Styles. So yeah, I feel like it was just in a really bad spot, and I just didn't really care for this match a ton.
Yeah, I think this match is a fairly good match. However, they didn't have a lot of moments to me where I felt like that actually made you believe or wanted you to believe that Sami was going to get the big one. He did have a few moments where he tried to come back, but Drew kind of overpowers him. But I didn't have that one big moment that you usually get in a big Sami Zayn type of match. And that's the one thing I kind of do feel a little bit disappointed about. But Drew McIntyre retaining, I think, is the right decision. Unfortunately for Sami Zayn, it's another opportunity in the wrong time. Hopefully, again, maybe in a few months after we've on the end of Drew McIntyre's reign, he can be the man to defeat him. But unfortunately, it is not here tonight at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, definitely a little bit disappointing of a match, but I think there's a bright future for Sami Zayn next year's Royal Rumble. We're going back to Saudi Arabia. Drew McIntyre looks good for him as well because he'll go into WrestleMania as champion. At least that's what it looks like at the moment. But yeah, we're going to go in to our main event of the night being the Men's Royal Rumble match. And this one had a very intriguing start to it, I guess you could say, because we see Obafemi come out at number 1, which was like, oh, we're just getting right to it. We're just getting the big guy out the way. And then obviously it was kind of leaked already, but Braun Breaker comes in at number 2. But before he could actually make it to the ring, we see a masked guy come in and attack him before he could enter the ring. He hits the set stomp on him, beats him up for a little bit, tosses him in the ring just to be immediately eliminated by Obafemi. So obviously the big talk about it is going to be who is the masked guy. The big thing is it Logan Paul? Because that's kind of who it looked like if you could kind of judge based off of what you've seen. But what are your thoughts on the big masked guy attacking Braun Breaker right at the start?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea who it is right now. I think Logan Paul is probably going to be the route they do go with it. But yeah, there's a lot of signs to kind of point you different ways. Is it a potential Seth Rollins? He kind of had the John Moxley kind of neck spin at the end after doing the big move. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. I feel like Logan kind of hinted at it on the previous Raw, kind of saying that we should all go for Braun Breaker to win just to end up attacking him. And yeah, maybe we see a leadership switch in the Vision, and maybe we see Brock Lesnar, who's a man who does show up in this match. We'll kind of see where Paul Heyman falls between Vision and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, so we see Obafemi eliminate Braun Breaker. Then at number 3, Solo Sikoa comes in. Elimination for Obafemi. At number 4, Rey Mysterio comes in. Elimination for Obafemi. And at number 5, Rusev comes in. Definitely, a big person who could kind of take Obafemi for at least a fight. But no, he eliminates him immediately before the next person could even get into the ring. And that next person would be Matt Cardona, who was also eliminated by Obafemi. So big moment for Obafemi, kind of dominating the beginning portion of this match. But Damian Priest comes in and kind of sets the record straight and kind of is able to last until the next person is able to come in, which was Javon Evans, who has a really big performance and is kind of the Sol Ruka of the men's match, where he lasted a very long time, coming in at a very early spot. Obviously, he's not an NXT guy, but he kind of is still an NXT guy because he's so early on in his main roster career. Mr. Iguana comes in, Trick Williams comes in, Cody Rhodes comes in, but then we get the kind of funny moment of the Royal Rumble with both El Grande Americanos coming in at 12 and 13. Original El Grande and Ludwig El Grande obviously being Chad Gable, of course. They do the Spider-Man meme, but then they both sort of get eliminated. El Grande Original eliminates Ludwig El Grande, and then Trick Williams eliminates Chad Gable El Grande. So very cool kind of spot there, kind of funny moment, kind of lighting the crowd up a little bit. But what are your thoughts on the El Grande thing that went on, and then Javon's big spot as well?
Yeah, I think it's something that me and you talked about in our Royal Rumble predictions of the order, and yeah, I'm glad that we got it. I think definitely spells out what their WrestleMania plans are, and I think it's something that is kind of about time. Hopefully this is going to be kind of the finish. Maybe it is a mask versus mask. Whoever loses has to kind of drop the El Grande gimmick. But yeah, I like that Chad Gable is now back, assuming it is him under the mask. But yeah, pretty cool and a kind of good moment for returning Chad Gable.
But up next, at number 14, we get the big debut of the night, pretty much the only debut of the night, and that is going to be Royce Keys, formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs from AEW. He does get mentioned as Powerhouse Hobbs, which is kind of like a shocking thing. I was like, whoa, they're mentioning him, and they mentioned that Cody had a pass with him. It's like, whoa, they mentioned a lot of like AEW lore here. Like, what is going on? But yeah, really big moment for him. I do believe he picked up one or two eliminations. He picked up one elimination throughout this. So I wish he would have had like a bigger showing, but unfortunately, didn't really go his way in terms of that. What are your thoughts on the big debut of Powerhouse Hobbs here?
Yeah, I love the presentation of Hobbs, or now Royce Keys. I think he does have a brighter future in WWE, like I said before, than what he would have had in AEW. So I'm glad to see him in a big spot here in the Rumble. Unfortunately, didn't have the performance I would have liked him to have. I definitely thought he was a guy who would be in at least in the final like 6 or like about the final 5, but eventually gets eliminated quite early, honestly, and it's definitely somebody who I thought would have a better performance.
Yeah, he kind of gets into a big face-off with the entire Vision group. And yeah, they kind of all team up on him and throw him over the top. But we also see Ilya Dragunov come in. But kind of, this was probably the big controversial thing is going to be Ilya Dragunov. He comes in, he kind of beating the hell out of Brock Lesnar in the corner, but Brock Lesnar sort of just no-sells it and eliminates him immediately, just like he's nothing. So that's definitely a disappointing moment, a disappointing booking decision from WWE to put one of your young stars who's on the rise, who's one of your best stars on SmackDown, who's pretty much the only reason why people watched SmackDown for a while is because of him when he was the champion. So yeah, definitely a disappointing moment there.
Yeah, definitely did not like that at all. Like you said, the guy who is your former United States champion just a few months ago is getting no-selled by Brock Lesnar, and then he tries to scream in his face to kind of scare him, and Dragon's like, no, I'm not going to just be a bitch and kind of cower away. I'm going to continue to hit you. But yeah, a very weird moment. Part of me doesn't even think that was a WWE thing. It's probably a Brock Lesnar thing, just trying to, probably didn't know who Ilya Dragunov was. It was like, he probably did some jobber. I don't care.
Yeah, so definitely a disappointing spot there. We do see a few AAA entrants. As I mentioned, Mr. Iguana came in previous, but now La Parka comes in. So someone who's definitely cool. I like La Parka's work. He had a few NXT matches as well as I watched some of his AAA stuff. So a lot of good stuff from him. I enjoyed seeing him. Dragon Lee, Logan Paul comes in at number 20, which kind of completes the Vision, obviously outside of Braun Breaker, who got eliminated in the very first elimination. But we do see Brock Lesnar get eliminated by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight. So that's kind of like a weird one because it was during Jey Uso's entrance, so it's kind of like not really like televised. Like you actually seen the elimination, of course, but it wasn't like you didn't see like how they led to that elimination or anything of that nature. So it's pretty weird. And then Jey Uso did the whole thing where it's like he does the run it back thing. He does that. It takes up quite a bit of time. Then Roman Reigns comes in and then he says, "Oh, let's run it back again." They start to run it back again, but then Roman Reigns punches him in the face, disrupts the whole thing, which I did really enjoy that spot. I'm not gonna lie. But Jacob Fatu comes in next, Penta after that, Randy after that, and that number 30, the final entrant, is Gunther, which kind of at this point led me to believe like, okay, Gunther is probably winning. I kind of had it in my mind once he entered that, okay, with the field that's still in the ring at this point, I think Gunther is going to win this. But I ended up being wrong. He does get eliminated by Roman Reigns in the final 2, and Roman Reigns wins the Men's Royal Rumble.
Yeah, definitely a very surprising choice. As I mentioned in the start of the video, he recently said in an interview that, in the time he has been away, there has been no new stars made, and that there hasn't been any type of difference in the past few years in terms of who's at the top. And we're kind of in the same position now. He is back at the top now, going for the World Championship. I do think it's not the worst decision because I do think Roman Reigns being back in the world title picture is kind of better for them in terms of probably money. I think Roman Reigns is probably the bigger draw. He's been away for quite a while now. Having him back, probably going to get CM Punk at WrestleMania, I think is going to be a huge match. And yeah, I'm interested in what the story is going to be, how much he'll be there into the build-up of, this big match. And hopefully he just sat around enough to actually have a story and to actually make us care about this match at Mania.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the big thing is like it's kind of a weird one because I am very excited for Roman Reigns and CM Punk. It is a match that I want. I was leaning more towards wanting CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, however, but Roman Reigns and CM Punk, I'm definitely not going to complain about a big main event for him, and then CM Punk will likely get his night 2 main event with this as well, so that'll be very good. Hopefully he could retain and get a win on a WrestleMania. It's not looking good, unfortunately, going against Roman Reigns, of course. But yeah, so it's kind of a weird one, as I mentioned, because I do want to see the match, but I didn't like Roman Reigns winning. So it's like maybe I should just stop being a crybaby and just like the win because I do like the match. So it's kind of just one of those things. I just feel like we could have got there without it if that's where we wanted to go. But it was a really good Royal Rumble. I did enjoy it. There's some complaints, of course, such as the Ilya Dragunov spot, the Royce Keys being eliminated pretty easily, as well as Obafemi. Even I do believe Brock Lesnar eliminated him too. So Brock Lesnar kind of eliminating him rather than it being the vice versa is kind of annoying. I would have loved to have seen Obafemi eliminate Brock Lesnar. I think the crowd would have popped heavily for that as well. But yeah, I guess your final thoughts on the Royal Rumble as a whole tonight.
Yeah, I think it's overall for the show, for both Rumble matches, I think they both did their jobs in terms of building what the WrestleMania matches is. I think when you look at Brock Lesnar, what his plans will be, it looks like it's going to be Obafemi, which I think is fine, assuming that it's going to be Gunther at SummerSlam to probably end up retiring him, which is going to be another crazy feat. But another thing that I think is worth mentioning was that the way Cody Rhodes got eliminated was by the distraction or the Claymore kick of Drew McIntyre. He comes out, he's hits a Claymore on him. It kind of distracts Jacob Fatu, which allows Roman Reigns to eliminate him. So yeah, kind of a cool sequence. It kind of sets up that seems to still be the match, whether that's going to be at Chamber, whether that's at Mania. I feel like that's going to be the Mania match. We'll see either Jacob or Cody go into Chamber and probably walk out as one of the winners. But yeah, it should be a very interesting Mania build, and I think a lot of the stuff going into it should be better than it was last year.
Yeah, on the women's side, we have interesting storylines coming up, such as the Bellas entering the tag team division in the WWE, a very exciting thing, especially with the pop that she got. I'm curious if she'll be able to hold that in all the places that she goes to, if America will react the same way. And that's a good spot for Nikki, too, because she's been in kind of like a weird spot. No one has really enjoyed a lot of her work, but I think putting her in the tag division with Brie Bella could be a very positive thing for her. We're going to have the Judgment Day women's story going heading into WrestleMania, potentially Raquel Rodriguez being a women's world champion come Monday. So, yeah, a lot of interesting storylines going on. I feel like they did a really good job with the Rumble, building up stories. Hopefully they use those stories going forward. But yeah, that is going to be our Royal Rumble review and results. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.